Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Akal Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and this video is about the prophecy of World War III and the destruction of America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great, in Revelation chapter 17, and also Babylon when mentioned in various other parts of the scriptures, which, pertains to the destruction of it. All right, so all of this is on the table, man, because we're at the end of the rulership of the so-called white man. The vision that Nebuchadnezzar received from the Lord that was interpreted by the prophet Daniel, we're at the end of it, those feet. All right, and so we have prophecy at hand. We have a few major prophecies to come to pass. The mark of the beast prophecy, which is a microchip, World War III, the destruction, the salvation, the kingdom, right? And salvation is only for the nation of Israel, and of the Israelites, only a remnant will be saved, which is the elect of the nation of Israel. Salvation is not for any other nation. All right, so World War III is building up, man. All right, and it's building up very rapidly day by day. All of these prophecies are. Okay, we're in that time. Okay, and the prophets of Yahweh Shemishai have, checked out the times, have been watchmen, have measured the time diligently, and the message is clear. We're at the end of Esau's kingdom. So we're about to head into some terrible, terrible times. Okay, but here it is, breaking news from RT, right? Because you can see when they did the red, new unlimited range cruise missile can bypass air defense. Air defense is Russian military. The Burevestnik noted for its unmatched range was test fired earlier this month, covering a distance of over 14,000 kilometers. Now, before I get into this article, I want to just bring out two others regarding the situation at hand that is happening. All right, because these are still recent, right? From the Express US, World War III tensions spike as Russia accuses Donald Trump of act of war. Now, regarding the prophecy of World War III, America and Russia are major players regarding this prophecy. All right. Firstly, in Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14, it says, the second woe is past, talking about World War II, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, which is World War III. So World War III is on the table. All right. And you have the major players here. Now, Russia is a major player regarding this. All right. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, it lets us know what it is. Ezekiel 38 and verse 2 says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, which is talking about the Russians, as they dwell in the land that Gog and Magog once dwelt. They're not the original Gog and Magog. They are actually an Edomite sovereign nation, and the Edomites are these so-called white people. All right, it is because they dwell now in that place where Gog and Magog once dwelt. That's where Russia is. And say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, talking about Russia, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I'll bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. So Yahweh Shemishai is going to put the spirit upon the Russians to go into that spirit of war. And we see it. It's literally happening in real time that the Lord is putting the spirit on Russia to go to war. No matter what it is regarding any kinds of talks that we've been hearing about where they want to try and have talks or peace or whatever it is, it never works out because Bible prophecy is at the forefront, and Bible prophecy says that World War III is going to happen. With all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So Russia is going to be going to war with an alliance, and you can look at Russia's alliance by way of looking at the BRICS, BRICS. Persia, which is known today as Iran, and when you look at world affairs and the alliances, you can see that Russia's closest ally is Iran. Ethiopia and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Ethiopia and Libya refers to the Hamite nations, the so-called Africans, okay? And that relationship has been built up over these past years. All right, I've witnessed it, and I've reported on it as well. The relationship between Putin and the African leaders, where he has made several trips over there to strengthen their relationship. Gomer and all his bands, the House of Togarma of the North Quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee, which this is talking about Turkey. Now, Turkey is currently a part of NATO, but the prophecy says that Turkey is going to be aligned with Russia. Now, we know this is Turkey in the same way as Ezekiel 38 and verse 2, right? Where Gomer and Togarma once dwelt, that is now where Turkey is, okay? But regarding Turkey, observing, prophecy, you can see the deterioration of the relationship between Turkey and its current alliance because of the actions made by the state of Israel that Turkey has very blatantly condemned on a worldwide stage. So we're able to see the deterioration of that relationship in real time as well, because prophecy is at hand. Okay, so Turkey will eventually join with Russia and that alliance. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia is a guard unto its allies. So if anybody attacks Russia's allies, Russia will defend its allies. Okay, so Russia's a very big part of World War III. And of course, America's a big part of World War III as well, right? And then at the end of World War III, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. So the tensions are spiking because prophecy is at hand. Okay, then this one, Russia launches large-scale nuclear forces drills. And this is the Lord, going back to the Ezekiel, putting the spirit upon them, right, to go to war. And that's why they're doing these drills, because they're preparing themselves. The Russian armed forces have launched large-scale exercises testing the capabilities of their strategic nuclear triad, which has involved launches of intercontinental range ballistic missiles and air-launched cruise missiles. So they're preparing for nuclear war as well. And the scriptures say that it will be like this. Okay, in Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5, it says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." And we know of all of the history of, the wars that we know about and how they've been fought, right? And it's been as such, men on the battlefield slaughtering one another, etc., with whatever weapon it is that was, available at that period of time. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this battle that is coming, World War III, is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. And what's going to be causing that? The missiles. Okay, because Yahweh Shimon Shai is going to gather the heathen over there in the so-called Middle East, right? We can go to Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. "But I will remove far off from you the northern army," talking about the US, "and will drive him into a land barren and desolate." That land is talking about the land of Saudi Arabia, with his face toward the East Sea, talking about the Euphrates River, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, talking about the Red Sea. "And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things." So the Lord has let us know the location of where World War III is going to happen, which is the so-called Middle East, which is Western Asia, right, in that area over there. And America is going to go over there and fight the war against Russia and her allies, and, America is going to be allied with the state of Israel. And somewhere within what's happening with the situation, we'll see when it, comes to pass, America's allies are going to actually turn against her at some point, okay? But that's the area of contention. And then we know the judgment. They're going to lose over there. So first they're going to lose the war over there in Western Asia, the so-called Middle East, and then the missiles are going to be shot at them, all right? And we know that America's allies are going to turn against her, because in Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16, it says, "And the 10 horns, which is the European Union, which thou sawest upon the beast, which is NATO, thee shall hate the whore. The whore is America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So NATO and the EU are going to turn against America eventually. And then when you take a look at what has happened this year, you can see the deterioration of that relationship as well. The whole situation with Ukraine, and then Trump leaving NATO and the EU out of the talks, and they're supposed to be an alliance, but they're blocking them out of the talks. And then, they're offended. So they were talking about how they're withholding certain intelligence information from, America, and it's just a disaster in Esau's kingdom. They're all against one another. And the scriptures say it, man, in the book of Mark, I believe chapter 3, if Satan be divided against himself, he cannot stand but hath an end, referring to the Edomites. All right? Y'all are divided, man. Your kingdom is completely fractured. When you look at it, you have America, Edomite sovereign nation, NATO and the EU, Edomite sovereign nations, the state of Israel, Edomite sovereign nation, right? And they're supposed to be aligned with one another. But then, even then, you have fractures within that relationship between NATO and the EU and America and the state of Israel. And then you have them against the other side, which is the other Edomite sovereign nation. And to say it once again, the Edomites are the so-called white people with Russia. And then Russia has enlisted the aid of the heathen to help them with their cause, to fight against America and her alliance. And then, based on the scriptures, something's going to happen where America's own allies, NATO and the EU, are going to turn against her. So Esau's kingdom is through, man. It's not a harmonious kingdom. Okay, so it is going to fall. All right. So this is what is at hand, man. So they're making they're doing this. So they're doing the drills. The Lord is putting the Spirit upon them, and now you have these new unlimited range cruise missiles, right? Which, even this article here, they're talking about how they're doing the trials exercises for the intercontinental range ballistic missiles, which those intercontinental means from one continent to the other, right? And according to the scriptures, we know the number of them that will be hitting America, right? 200,000, okay? Because you have the missile and then you have multiple warheads within them, all right? So that is what is going to be destroying and devastating America. And all of this is at hand, man. All right, this is what is building up. So, also, I want to make mention of a few weeks, maybe months ago, Russia had this very powerful earthquake. And the earthquake was powerful, but what I noticed was that the earthquake that hit Russia, the west coast of America, was warned about it, regarding to be on watch for a tsunami watch. Now that made me realize that Russia must be, somewhat closer to America than I imagined. You know what I mean? You look at the world map and whatever, but, based on that report, an earthquake hit Russia, and then there's a tsunami alert for the west coast of America, California, etc. So it's like, it's actually closer than, some may perceive, at least how I perceived it, So those missiles, it's very easy for them to reach that. And of course they're going to reach because of Bible prophecy, but, just to, bring that out, the proximity of it. But all of this is at hand, man, and these missiles were created for a purpose. All right, the scriptures say in Isaiah 54 and verse 16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So Yahweh Shimishai gave Esau, Edom, this missile technology for their own destruction, right? Once the missiles are launched, they're going to destroy America. And when the missiles are on their way to America, that's when Yahushua returns. But all of this won't happen until the mark of the beast prophecy, which is a microchip, is fulfilled. That has to be fulfilled first before the destruction and salvation comes, which is a simultaneous event, right? With the missiles on the way and Yahushua returning at the same time to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel from America and the elect from the four corners of the earth. So all of this is at hand, man, and you can see the spirit of Yahweh Shemishai, pushing forward with prophecy. Russia's new unlimited range nuclear powered missile, You know, they have another missile called they have what, the Satan 1 and the Satan 2 they call it. But yes, the Burisvinic or whatever can evade missile defenses. So it can evade missile defenses. But missile defenses, completely irrelevant. Based on the scriptures, it's just going to destroy, right? The scriptures say in Jeremiah 50, and verse 8. Yes. No, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, which is talking about America, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows, talking about those missiles, shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. So once they're launched, their purpose is to destroy America, and there's nothing stopping them. Any kind of air defense system or missile defense, it's completely irrelevant. It's not going to work. All right. Once the missiles are launched, America's through. All right. And once the missiles are launched, that's the salvation for the elect of the nation of Israel, man, because Yahushua is going to return at the same time. So America's finished, man. Okay. And the Medes, right, in certain places in the scriptures is talking about the Russians. So it says here in Jeremiah 51 and verse 11, make bright the arrows, talking about the missiles, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, talking about the Russians, for his devices against Babylon, talking about America, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. All right, so America is going to be destroyed, man. All right, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Revelation chapter 18. Many places, man, actually. Second Esdras, I think it's here. 15 and verse 40. The great and mighty cloud shall be puffed up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place an horrible star. Right? Fire and hail and flying swords and many waters, and all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. Right? And that horrible star are the missiles, right? Because when you're on the ground and you see it from, in the sky, it, I don't know what to call it, shimmers, glimmers, something like that. Like it sparkles, like a star from a distance. All right. And then it says, and they shall go, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, talking about America, and make her afraid. They shall come to her and beseech her, and the star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her, which this matches with Revelation chapter 18, right? So America's on its way out, man. The prophecies are at hand. Jacob's trouble has already started, and it's just going to continue to ramp up, man. Okay? And this is what it is. These are the times that we're in, man. Measure the time diligently. Okay? The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And look at this. Russian new global range cruise missile. Burevestnik. Okay? Engine nuclear turbojet. Range unlimited. Speed 850 to 1300 kilometers per hour. Flight altitude 25 to 100. So the message is clear. All right, repent. All right, and return to our power, Yahweh Shemisha, and only an Israelite can do that. All right, this destruction is going to happen in America. So the people that are in America, that are Israelites, that don't repent and return to our power, that are not of the elect, they're going to be destroyed. And the scriptures let us know in Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8 that 2/3 are going to be destroyed and die in America, and 1/3 is going to be saved of our people, right? And then there's a judgment for taking the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, Death by way of thermonuclear fire in America. Revelation chapter 9, Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. Going on down. All right, 10 as well. So all of this is at hand, man. It's very close. And look at everything that's going on with this world. Okay? So repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shemakah Kodesh. Shalom.